What's good, everyone? Evan Harris here from Harris Family Flips, and thank you for coming back to my YouTube channel. Or if this is your first time watching, hey, welcome. What's going on, guys? My name's Evan Harris, and me and my family source to buy and resell through thrift stores and local bin stores and stuff like that. Anywhere that we can find product to then flip for a higher price on eBay. And this video is one I've kind of been a little bit nervous about. I don't want it to feel like I'm bragging or anything like that. I really just want it to be almost motivational for anybody out there that's clicking through videos like I did, trying to figure out, can I do this? Can I buy and resell? And what's it going to look like at first? And how do I start? And this video is just going to be a little bit of my journey, and then I'm going to take you behind the scenes on my whole first month of sales, which was the month of December of 2019. Just a few months ago. I'm only a few months in, but it has how we've been able to generate extra income for my family has been absolutely just a blessing and has given us so much more financial freedom. Not to mention, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy going out and sourcing. So I want to take you back a little bit to kind of how I decided to do this. Was back in, actually on Black Friday, I went to a store called Gimme a Five. And I had never been before. I'd been to some local like stores where the top price is $5. They restock it with return items, and then it's just kind of a free-for-all. And I'd gone to some of them. I'd never been on a restock day, which is a big deal. It's kind of funny now. I look back and I'm thinking, gosh, they have junk. But restock days are absolutely the key. So anyways, without getting too far off, because I tend to squirrel and go way off in left field. That was right field. But not to get too far off topic. So I was at Gimme a Five, and I saw some guy's video, and actually I want to give a shout out. A lot of shout outs probably on this video, but a big shout out to Nashville Flippers. You guys, if you're watching, you probably don't know, but you were one of the main ones that really kind of got the wheels turning. I've always been into YouTube, and I saw you guys filming a YouTube video. I found your channel. And then through watching your channel, through watching some of the interviews that the Nashville Flippers have, I'll put their channel and a link down below in my description. But through watching one of their videos and several of their videos, I realized how lucrative buying and reselling could be. I liked going to these stores anyways. I found a few pretty cool items to flip that day. And I thought, you know, why should I just go for me once a month to find stuff I want when I can go every weekend and find stuff and make some extra income for my family. My wife stays home with our son. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've probably seen my little boy running through the camera. And she stays home, and I thought, hey, this could be something where she can take pictures from home, she can post to eBay from home, help me do some packaging in the afternoons, and almost like a job from home for her. And really my goal when all of this started was I want to hit $200 a week. If I can hit $200 in profit a week, there's no need for like my wife to babysit or something like that. That kind of supplements that income. I have a full-time job through the week, and I thought this $200 a week, that seems reasonable. I mean, it's a lot of extra money to have $200 a week. I mean, especially when you spend it out over a month. But I thought if I can hit that number, that's a good number. And in the first week, I hit that number. And then the week after that, I doubled that number. And it was just crazy how it started to snowball as I made some mistakes. And as I learned from those mistakes and found better items and learned new places to go, it just continued to grow. And again, on this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you back and show you some of my sales from December. I'm not going to do all of them because this video would be like 30 to 45 minutes, and I don't want that. I kind of want to not make it too lengthy, but I want to show you some of the things I sold. I'm going to show you some of my failures as well, because I definitely made a few of them, and give some shout outs along the way. And before we jump into it, a few more shout outs real quick. One of my buddy Josh that does reselling, he doesn't have a YouTube channel, he needs to. Great at what he does. Just gave me a lot of motivation. I leaned on him a lot in text messages for tips. I watched a ton of YouTube videos. Side Hustle Mom, Rally Roots, of course the Nashville Flippers, a lot of Josh, I think that's right. I'm gonna miss some, but just all those guys are great, guys and gals. I actually made my wife watch Side Hustle Mom to try to get her a little bit more interested. But they're all great, and just shout out to all of them, because I probably would never have dove into this without having so much knowledge out there to be like, okay, this isn't crazy. It's not a pipe dream. I can make money on the side doing this. So let's go straight to some of the sales, and I'll try to pop them up on the screen, either side of my head, and as I talk about them, okay? Alright, so I'm going to start off with my very first sale that I had on eBay in the month of December. I had sold 2 things on eBay ever before this, and they were things laying around the house. So month of December was my, hey, I'm going to hit this full steam and do buying and reselling. And you'll kind of see a little bit of progression, because my first item, I'm pretty sure I lost money on. That's embarrassing, but it's part of it. So my first item, I went out and I got a Quamat metal detector. It was a handheld pinpointing metal detector. And I almost thought about keeping it for a Christmas gift, because one of my brother-in-laws is really into metal detecting. But I thought, hey, this is my first item. Let's put it on there and see how it does. Let's see how it does. And it sold for $12. I had $5 in it, so you're listening and you're like, that's profit. That's $7. I had free shipping on it, and I didn't know what first class shipping was yet. Just didn't know that was a thing. So I paid priority. I think I spent like $7.55 to ship it. So I was in the hole on my very first item, and I was not in the hole by the first month. So that was great. Alright, this next item I am going to tell you about. I should probably peek and see what it is. Actually, the next 2 items I'm going to tell you about, I picked up at that first Give Me a 5 store in Madison on Black Friday, and I was like, boom, I can do this. Let's go. Very first thing was my first thing I had profit on, and they were true wireless headphones. The brand was Rowkin, R-O-W-K-I-N, micro. I'll put them up here so you can see. I paid $5 for them, and it was a good flip, as you see on the screen here, to my right or left. Whenever I edit this or have somebody help me edit it, it'll be up there. It was a really good flip. It was my first profit, and I immediately, when you have that first sale, you're like, boom, it's go time. I've made money. Let's figure this out. And I had watched some videos on shipping. I think a Rally Roots video on shipping, and I had learned a little bit, so that definitely helped. Next item I'll talk about. Found this fossil watch at that Give Me a 5. I had a tag on it, and it had the tag said $105. Well, growing up as a kid, Fossil was a massive brand. I was not thinking about Apple Watches being out and so many different types of smartwatches, and who really wears a watch anymore unless it's a different brand, something nicer. I don't know. I never wear watches, so I couldn't tell you. But I still made a pretty good profit of it. I bought it for $5. And I resold it for $35, and it was shipped first class. It cost me like $3.50 to ship, something like that. So it was a pretty good little profit right there. So back-to-back items they sold on the same day. It was really great. Or actually, they sold a day apart. So December 4th, December 5th. It was awesome. So you'll probably tell from this next item, and I'm kind of going chronologically through the month. But you'll probably tell from this next item that I'm learning a little bit. I'm starting to know what to look for. I'm seeing what sells and what doesn't. And this next item was a Sega Genesis Mini. I picked it up for $5 on a different weekend. I actually brought my wife. She found nothing, but it was a learning experience. I found some pretty cool items. One of the items was that Sega Genesis Mini. Picked it up for $5, and $54 is what I sold it for. It was plus tax. I don't really care about that. $54. It shipped priority for a little, I think like $8 or $9. So a pretty good flip there. Alright, so I'm going to tell you about one of my pretty big failures. Something that I had to learn a little bit, another lesson on shipping. So I bought these 2 Nerf guns. They were Nerf PTX Vortex. I actually bought 3 of them on the same day. I looked them up. They were comping around $30 somewhere in there, and I thought, boom, like this is great. I can make money on these. And they're Nerf guns around Christmas time. Who's not going to buy Nerf guns? They'll sell really quick. This was the logic in my head. Didn't work out that way. They did sell quick, but the issue was I didn't know enough about shipping to understand like how the dimensions of packaging something like that, how it was going to cost me. And boy, did it cost me. Each of these items sold, I sold 2 of them. And let me just tell you a little background on that story. I sold one, I'm packaging in the living room, and I'm kind of fussing. I'm talking to my wife, and I'm like, this is frustrating. This is stupid. I'm packaging up. At this point, I realized it's going to cost me almost $18 to ship. I sold it for $28.50. So $18 and $5 in it. I'm about to make little to no money on this item. And I tell my wife, I was like, I really need to take the other 2 off before somebody buys them. And as I say that sentence, I get a notification on my cell phone that says, you have sold another one. Which normally that's a great thing, but in this case it wasn't. I cut down on my box a little bit on the second one, and it shipped for like $17. For the both of them, I made like $5. It wasn't anything after eBay fees and everything else, and PayPal fees. Hardly made anything. And I took the third one and actually gave it away. I was going to post it on Facebook, and somebody asked me if they bought it, if I would donate it. I told them to keep their money, and I donated it anyway. So I completely broke even on that whole deal, but it was definitely a learning experience, and I never made that mistake again. So this was probably one of my bigger flips, and it was a more aggressive flip. Every other item that I talk about, I only had $5 or less in. This item I had $300 in. I picked this up for $300. It was a Microsoft, It was a Microsoft Surface Pro 6. I bought it for $300. I flipped it for $660. It sold on the same day. I actually bought it at a Christmas party, and it was a quick flip. I had a lot of money in it. Big eBay fee came out because it's 10%. Still made over $200 on it. It was a great flip, and it definitely boosted my gross sales for the month. All right, next I want to tell you about the absolute best flip I've ever had so far. I'm only like 2.5 months in at this point, but still, this was incredible. And to find it in my first month, and I found it on, so I sold it on December 16th. I'm pretty sure I picked it up the day before because it sold really, really, really quick. To find it within my third week of sourcing was incredible for me. It was a Garmin handheld GPS. I picked it up for $5, and it sold for $325. And like I said, it sold within hours of me posting it. I think I accepted an offer just because I was tickled pink that I even got that much. And it was a big swing and a hit, and I sucked at baseball, but that's a home run. Next item I'll tell you about was a pair of AirPods. I found a pair of AirPods and for $75. I believe, the right AirPod did not work. It didn't matter. They still sold for $75. And I learned a little bit later, actually, and if you're doing this and you're sourcing and you find AirPods, I advise you to do this. Split it up. If you know they're real and they're authentic, which I knew mine were, I paired them to my iPhone. Sell them individually. So like left AirPod, right AirPod, and then the charging case separate. You'll get more money. I got 75 on that with the right AirPod bad. I could have got 45 for the case and probably 45 to 50 just for the left AirPod and made more money. It was an easy flip, so I'm not complaining about it. I'm just telling you so you know for future reference. So a flip from one of my first videos I put on this channel, I found a Lego set, and it was an architecture set, and it had recently been retired, and I didn't even know it at the time. I picked it up for $5. A lot of the comps were going closer to $100, and I thought that's where I was going to get with this item. I still got $75 for it. I didn't get the full $100, so a lot of these collector items, it's really important to know if it's not in pristine condition, the box itself, like this was it was a new item. It wasn't necessarily unopened, but all the individual Legos inside were still factory wrapped. The box had a few like small tears in it, and that drove my price down. I cannot talk today. I drove my price down a little bit, but I still got $75 for it on a $5 pickup. And if you want to see where I talk about getting that item and a whole lot more on a trip to Georgia, click my logo down below and go watch my first video. So this next item I'm going to tell you about is one that I like to tell the backstory on it a little bit. Sometimes you're going to go to these sourcing places and you're going to find absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean that place is junk though. It just means you didn't find nothing that day. This happened on this day. I actually took my brother-in-law with me. He's 13 and he went to a sourcing place with me on a Friday. It was a holiday week. I was out of work and I couldn't find anything. It was right after Christmas. I'm thinking this is a total bust. This is terrible. And as I'm looking through my items, I found like 1 or 2 items to resell. I try to stick with items that will sell for over $30, and especially if I'm paying $5 on a restock day. And my brother-in-law, I just told him, I was like, grab whatever, we'll look it up. So one thing I've learned is you look up everything. If you don't know what it is, just because you think it doesn't look like it's worth money, you look it up anyways. And we're sitting back some of his items, and he's getting a little discouraged, and he grabs this box, and he says, well, this is probably nothing, and goes to sit it back. And I was like, whoa, we don't know that. Let's look it up. And sure enough, we look it up, and it was a mini DSB 2x4. Look at the picture. I have no clue what it was, to be honest, but I picked it up for $5 and it sold same day for $160. So actually I posted it that night. It sold on Saturday. So that was a really quick flip, and it was something he found that day, and he found some Legos and a radio, and I was like, I'll buy those for you. It's okay. I'll get those. That's fine. You found a $160 item. Again, I didn't make $160 on it after shipping and eBay fees because I do free shipping. But still, it was a $100 profit all day, probably closer to $140. So the last item I'm going to tell you about was one of my bigger home runs of the month. It was a really good cap off for the month, and it was an item that almost didn't happen. So this item I have about probably 33 cents in. And eBay probably doesn't like this because they took down all the listings, but I'm going to tell you about them anyways because I can still put a screenshot up. They were Uber lots, and I actually went on a fill-a-bag day to a local store around here. I paid $11 for an entire bag of stuff, so by the time all the little things I sold, I only had 33 cents in each item. Probably less than that, but I think that's the math I wrote down somewhere else. But anyways, so I was getting items that sold for $10, $15, $20, or anywhere in that range. I found a few $40 items actually that day, but this was an item that I bulked up on. It was an Uber LED light, or rideshare light as I had it listed on eBay. I did not know the laws. I'm sorry, don't put me behind bars or nothing. But I grabbed 30 of them. I sold 28 of them in what seemed like 5 minutes. Not really. I sold a bunch to California, so shipping, of course. But I sold 28 of them within 36 hours before eBay flagged me and took them down. So luckily I had already printed the shipping label and already shipped them off, already got paid for them, so eBay don't take that money back. But had they taken it down before I did that, I would not have been able to ship them. So it was really awesome, really good find. I made right over almost $250, somewhere $250, $300 profit. I sold each of them for, let's look here, $9.99, but I also charged $4.99 shipping. That was the only time I didn't do free shipping. I didn't really know how they were going to do. I only had to list them once and put the quantity I had, and they sold really, really quick, obviously. And shipping never cost me more than $4.99 because it was like 5 ounces, I think, and it was first class everything. So I made at least $10 on every single one of them, sometimes more, and it was a really good flip. It was a really awesome experience too. I was like, I'm sitting there with my wife. The first one started selling on New Year's Eve. I had just listed them, and I'm like, oh, another Uber light. Another Uber light. This person bought 2 Uber lights. And then the next day it just kept on rolling. Alright, so the title of this video is how my first month of eBay selling changed my family's life. And it really did. I'm going to tell you the gross number for my first month. And I don't mean like gross, like ew, nasty. I mean like total profit sales that eBay tells me I have. Obviously that's not total profit. My profit margin was closer to 60% for the month. After I took out my selling fees, my shipping fees, total, pretty much all the selling cost and what I had in the item. But my total gross number for the month was $3,100.26. Can we put that up there? $3,100. So I was skeptical to make this video because I really didn't want to just throw that number out there and people think, oh, he has $3,000. It's not how that works. Yes, I make more on my day job, I'm not quitting my day job to do this, as I know a lot of people do and are very successful with it. I'm not quite there yet. But let's just say 50% profit margin, which I was a little bit over, would have been $1,500. For my family, that was crucial. I mean, that's massive. That's a rent payment. That's a car payment. That's a rent and car for us because we live pretty cheap. I mean, it was a complete game changer in the sense that my wife doesn't have to stress about, like, you know, does she eventually want to work? Does she not? She stays home with my son. She don't need a babysit. She don't need to do anything extra. We got this. We got all that handled. Immediately after our first month, we had a vacation coming up. We extended our vacation by 2 days. We took a 8-day vacation, almost 9-day. It was like 8 nights, 9 days, 8 nights, and we're gone for literally a block of time in the month of January, and we're just able to enjoy it. We had extra money to spend. We did everything that Gatlinburg had to offer. It was just a really, really fun experience. And as a sole income of a household, there was no stress. None. I don't stress a whole lot anyways. I put a lot of that off on God, and I trust Him in everything. But there was no, hey, can we pay this? Or where's our budget at? We're very tight budgeters. Where is this at? How do we have money? Have we put this aside? All of that kind of went out the window for a month. And now we've tightened down a lot more, and we're holding that money a little bit better. But it was just a complete game changer. It really was, and it's continued to do that. Month of January, I had that big break, so it didn't do as good. I've got those sales back up. Month of February has blown January out of the water, and December. It's just continuing to grow. I'm about to be a top-rated seller after today, according to the eBay evaluation. So it's crazy. So if you're watching this video and you're like, hey, how do they do that? A few quick tips I have from you just from some videos I watched. Start today. Just find some stuff around the house that you have and start selling. Watch YouTube videos. I am a YouTube certified eBay seller. So stupid. But no, honestly, watching those videos cut a whole lot of the guesswork out of it. And there's so many great people out there that aren't asking you to buy their membership or buy all their merch to continue watching their videos or anything like that. I mean, if they do that, support them. I mean, don't be afraid to support people that are giving out knowledge and helping you, but they're genuine people that I truly believe. I've never met anybody outside of the Nashville Flippers, and literally only met them like one day for a few hours. But I just feel like this community out here on YouTube is very genuine, and I want to add to that. I want to continue to pour some knowledge out for you guys as well. I guess my third thing would just be do it at your pace. And what I mean by do it at your pace is don't think that you have to go absolutely massive right off the bat. I started with a $50 budget. I wanted to take $50 and see what I could turn it into. So start at something that you're comfortable with. I know a lot of people that have hundreds and hundreds of items in inventory. One of my goals when I started was I wanted to have 100 items of inventory, because I heard multiple people say if you have 100 items in inventory, you're going to sell multiple items a day. And I figured if I could get to that, then I could start selling multiple items a day. I will tell you right now, I've never got to 100 items. I've gotten close, but I haven't done that because stuff is selling so quick. And maybe I have my items listed a little low. Maybe I'm undercutting myself. But I'm making a profit, so I'm not going to change anything right now. But anyways, I want to show you one more number here, and that would be I sold 51 total things for the month of December, and that was a pretty big gross number. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds. I hope you liked this video. I hope it helped. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, all of that. If this helped you out, I'm really glad I could do that. And continue watching my channel. I'm going to see what's next. I'm going to try to keep it fresh and change some things up a little bit and try to be consistent with listing. It's hard. I don't know how you guys that post twice a week do it. Salute to you. But until next time, everybody have a blessed evening, day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this. God bless you, and thanks for watching.